this week's lesson's focus was on Samuel chapter 15, verses 1 to 29. And we're just going to do a short little recap of that. So in verses 1 to 3, Saul was given some instructions from Samuel on what he needed to do to become king over the land. Up until this point, there was no king over the land because God was king. So God told Saul that he needed to attack the Amalekites and destroy everything and do not spare anyone. He had to put to death all the men, the women, the children, all the infants, the cattle, the sheep, the camels, and the donkeys. Wow. Now, these instructions seemed crazy harsh, but the Amalekites were very wicked people, and God had allowed them over 400 years to turn away from their sin, but they did not repent. So God is holy, and he must punish sin. He's also very merciful, and he allows people the opportunity to turn from their wickedness. Now, in verses 4 to 9, we hear about the battle and all the things that Saul was obedient to. He managed the attack, and he destroyed everything, but he spared the king and kept some of the animals alive. Now, in verses 12 to 15, we learn about Saul's rebel heart by the excuses that he makes when he's talking to Samuel. When Samuel asks who's to blame for killing the animals, he tries to blame the soldiers. And when he's asked why they spared the animals, he tries to tell them that they spared them as a sacrifice for the Lord. Now, in verses 16 to 19, when he was asked why he didn't obey the Lord, Saul insists to Samuel that he actually was obedient. Samuel's response is in verses 22 to 23, where Saul admits that he has sinned and begs Samuel to come back with him to worship the Lord. Samuel said, "No, God has rejected him as king," and when Samuel turned to leave, Saul had held on to the thread on his robe, and it tore. This shows us as a sign that God was rejecting Saul and telling Samuel to just leave, be done with him, be rid of him.
George, we miss you.
Bye.
Bye.